They said the valley didn't exist, that it was just a story whispered by shepherds and star watchers, passed through generations like an echo too fragile to hold. No one had ever seen it. No one. That is, who came back with more than dreams in their eyes and dust in their boots. They called it the Valley of the Moon, a place said to appear only once in a lifetime to a person who had lost something so deeply, so quietly, that even the stars could feel the weight of it. And if you found it if the moon itself led you down the winding path through forgotten trees and silver-touched meadows, it was said that time would stop, grief would listen, and the impossible would rise again. But, of course, only fools believed in such things. Or children. Or those like Mirren, who had no one left to call her home. She was a cartographer once, mapping out the known world for scholars who would never walk half the land she had. She'd scaled glacier-choked ridges and crossed deserts that shimmered with mirage, sketching the shapes of mountains like lovers' shoulders, and tracing rivers like lines on her own palms. But all that had ended when she lost her sister, her anchor, her twin flame, her mirror. One moment they were laughing beside a fire under northern lights, the next, gone, an avalanche. A silence so swift it didn't even echo. Mirren had survived. That was the cruelty. And with survival came the hollow. Maps lost their meaning. Coordinates became empty numbers. She no longer believed the world could offer her anything she hadn't already watched slip away. And then came the letter dot, no name, no return. Just a faded note tucked beneath her pillow on a sleepless night. When the moon is full and the mist dances low, follow the path the wolves do not cross. Your map ends where your story begins. She told herself it was a prank, a broken mind, a grief hallucination. But when the full moon rose 2 days later, fat, golden, and low, Mirren couldn't help but walk. The mist met her halfway. It was thicker than it should have been, curling like breath across skin, folding around her like memory. The forest turned unfamiliar. The wind smelled like jasmine and ash. She didn't walk with direction. She walked with instinct. Her compass spun in slow circles. Her watch ticked backward. And then, just before dawn, the trees parted and there it was, the Valley of the Moon. It was not grand, not gleaming. It was quiet. Soft hills, pale grass that glowed faintly blue, stones stacked in perfect spirals, and a sky that didn't feel entirely like night. At the center was a lake so still it reflected not just stars, but moments, flickers of memories Mirren hadn't let herself feel in years. Her sister's laugh, her own unguarded smile, a time before absence. And then the twist came. The valley began to speak, not in words, but in her voice. Dot echoes, dot memories. Choices she had made and forgotten, paths not taken. The grief she had buried so deeply it had begun to calcify. The valley mirrored it all. It was not a place of healing, not entirely. It was a place of confrontation, the kind no therapist, no ceremony, no passage of time could offer. Here, grief was not something to move on from. It was something to move with. Mirren stayed until the moon began to wane. The water of the lake shimmered and offered her a gift not her sister back. Not a miracle resurrection, but a map. Hand-dashed, drawn, dot, familiar, dot, her own. But different. It charted a land she hadn't yet walked. A future. One where she wasn't whole, but wasn't lost either. And when she stepped back into the world, the mist curling behind her like the final page of a chapter. Mirren didn't look for the valley again. She didn't need to, because the Valley of the Moon was not a place you could find twice. It was a place that found you when you were finally ready to see it.